to you. Bonjour. Nice to see you all. It's been a little while. So, our boy Chris Watts has been in the news for a couple of weeks. And the headlines, he say, he's blaming the mistress. And to be frank, I haven't read even one. The reason I begun my channel was because I believed that Shannon Watts, unfortunately, was the beginning of his misery from the beginning. Anyway, so Daily Mail article, I believe this morning. Killer dad, Chris Watts, who murdered his pregnant wife and suffocated his 2 daughters, 3 and 4, before stashing their bodies in oil drums, now blames his wife for the horrific murders and offers up vile excuses. So this happened in 2018? In about 2019, I said, oh my goodness, rest in peace, you 3 ladies, and the little boy infant, Nino, or, well, I don't remember his name. Nefo? What was his name? Somebody tell me below. My mother was an ombudsman. But I said, I watched days of this, and I said, this woman is a psychopath. Something is wrong with her. And for real. She was in, I think at the time of her death, she was current in 5 MLMs. She signed up for LuLaRoe back when LuLaRoe's minimum was $5,000, and I think the max was $10,000. You know she signed up for the max. There's videos of her with Bella climbing into the clothing and stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay, ready. Killer dad, Chris Watts. You know, if I had talent, I would put this right next to me and read, but I have no talent. Has secretly offered up a vile excuse for why he murdered his pregnant wife and 2 daughters. Pardon me, a little gas. His daughters, 3 and 4, more than 6 years on from his horrific crimes. So I only drink Coke Zero. I don't drink anything with calories in it unless it has alcohol in it. But oh my goodness, I haven't had a Coke in a couple of days. It's made me quite gassy. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take another sip. Okay. Watts, 36, at the time, strangled his partner Shannon, who was 37. It doesn't really matter, but I think they were 6 or 8 months different in age. She was 15 weeks pregnant with their son inside their 5-bed family home in Frederick, Colorado on August 13th, 2018. Okay, on a side note, Daily Mail has no editors at all. Their grammar is horrendous. They'll write the same sentence twice. I still watch it. But it does say, he murdered her after she came back from a business trip to Arizona. A business trip? A trip she had to pay money for? You know, I went on business trips. One time, we were getting off of the airplane, and there was a man standing with a card with our last name on it, and my husband elbowed me, and he said, hey, look, somebody else has on the plane has our same last name. I was like, that's for us, dummy. I didn't have to pay a penny for my business trips. A hotel, food, nothing. I believe I even received per diem. And I'm guaranteeing that Thrive ain't paying no per diem. That could be a country song. And I'm not a country music person. But I'm guaranteeing that Thrive ain't playing no per diem. And then the next thing you know, he kills her. I can't think of another line that goes with her. Anyway, the killer, who is serving more than 5 life sentences for his sick crimes, took her body away in his truck with his 2 daughters before smothering them both with a blanket. Watts buried his wife in a shallow grave and dumped his daughters' bodies in oil storage tanks. Okay, I've said this before. That's what kills me the most. He thought he had killed the girls in the house, and he hadn't, because he had never killed someone before. Then he went and he killed Shannon. And then Bella wakes up and Cece wakes up. And they probably both have black eyes. I've done some research into that. They probably... You know what? That Sarah Boone, she strangled George one time. Oh, look at my turkey neck. I have to hold this up. Okay. She strangled George one time. And the reason the police were able to charge her with strangulation... So I can't do this. Get over it. So, hello. Bye-bye, turkey neck. Hello, turkey neck. Were because of the bruises on George's neck. It kills me. He put those girls in the car. It took him 45 minutes to get out there to whatever was it called? 0310 or I can't remember. And he didn't pull over on the side of the road and even pick them up and throw them out, onto the shoulder of the road. They would have found someone. I think that's what haunts me the most is he said that the 45-minute drive out there, he's thinking, what have I done? What have I done? What the hell, dude? Okay. In newly revealed letters seen by the New York Post, which I believe is 100% credible, the New York Post, you know what, I'll shut up because I'll start getting political. He said he sought refuge with his mistress, Nicole, as she was everything my wife wasn't, adding that pregnant Shannon was a control freak. The handwritten notes to Dylan Talman, fellow, also probably a felon, inmate at Dodge Correctional Institute. Remember, Chris is up in Wisconsin. Watts said his marriage was unfulfilling as Shannon was really busy with her job and everything it required, adding that he was often his daughter's primary caregiver. The article doesn't really say that, but there was an old lady who lived 3 or 4 houses down. She had red hair, short red hair, and apparently she would get up and go to the gym every day. And she noticed that there was activity going on in that house earlier than usual. And she made a comment like, I'm up at 5 a.m., call me insane, or something. But she told the police, she said, I saw him with the children all the time. I never, ever saw her out with the children. Watts said he was tempted away from his marriage after he met Nikki, I'm going to call her Nikki, following some weight loss in 2017. So Chris started exercising and he dropped 100 pounds because he needed some way to get out of his house without doing something wrong, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go for a walk. It turned into jogging. I had my first child. I gained 63 pounds my first pregnancy. 63 pounds. I mean, oh my goodness. I don't weigh much more than that now. And my boss, I quit work once I got pregnant, but my boss bought me this really fancy jogging stroller. Do you remember Ron Burgundy? Jogging. It was a jogging stroller. But anyway, I had nothing to do. I have this little baby, and I'm like, what do? I don't have to go to work and buy stocks anymore. So I put this kid in this really nice stroller, and I started walking. The next thing you know, I would jog a block, and then walk a block, jog a block, and then the next thing you knew, I've been a size 0, and I've been a size 0, pretty much ever since. Okay, back to Chris. She was just everything my wife wasn't like with me. She was nice and not a control freak. We could make decisions together. We knew each other for a while, but we didn't start messing around. How tacky is that? Come on, Chris. Until around 6 weeks prior. I was not thinking. We worked together. We had chemistry. I fell into temptation. She was the forbidden fruit. Okay, so this is where I'm going to get a little annoyed. But he also blamed Nikki himself or herself for being the death of me. In a letter dated March 2020, and I assume that was to Sherilyn Cadle, he wrote, "The words of a harlot have brought me low. Her flattering speech was like drops of honey that pierced my heart and soul. Little did I know that all her guests were in the chambers of death." Okay. There's not one word in that sentence that has Chris taking any responsibility for himself. So I work with good-looking men. If I go up to them tomorrow and be cute and flirty and they fall for me, it's all my fault? No, it takes two. I really don't like that he wrote the words of a harlot. Her history showed she wasn't a harlot. She had dated that one guy for a few years, and he really hurt her. I think he only emotionally abused her, which I think a lot of women overuse these days. But I didn't feel like she had... There was no history of her being, as they say on the Maury Povich show, a hoe. H-O-R-E. Hoe. Watts seemingly has a habit of refusing to own up to his own horrific crimes. Did I just not say that? That's exactly his whole thing. In the 2 days after he slaughtered his family, he claimed that he had nothing to do with his family's disappearance and even appeared on television for them to come home. And in that television, that's when apparently Tammy had only, the CBI woman, Tammy, had only met the FBI Grant guy 5 minutes prior when this live breaking news from whatever, Channel 2 Fox, I don't know, comes on. And they watched it, and apparently Tammy turned around and she looked at Grant and said, "Holy F." I'm not sure if she said, "We have a problem," but she looked around at Grant and said, "Holy F." And I'll be honest, I was surprised that she said the F word. She doesn't come across like that woman to me. In text messages to his mistress, just hours after he had killed the family, Watts denied having anything to do with their disappearance, according to a previously unreleased... Okay, we already know that. "I was still in my head. I was stressed out," Kessinger told authorities, according to footage posted by Shannon's brother, Frankie. Okay, Frankie attacked me. Frankie, I really hope that you're off drugs now. It's really, really sad what happened to your sister. But your sister, she was the fertilizer for this. When you take a family and you bankrupt them, two people freshly married, they're moving to Colorado to buy a brand new house. You don't spend $400,000 and buy a 5-bedroom house. If it's that important for you for a home ownership, get a little townhouse house or a starter home. I wouldn't recommend a condo because it's difficult selling condos. But Shannon was all about status. She wanted... Do you notice there were no pictures of her family in her home? It was all this stupid artwork and stuff. Okay. So here, Frankie is saying... This is Frankie speaking. "So I texted Chris one last time and I told him, if you did anything bad, you're going to ruin your life and you're going to ruin my life. I promise you that. I honestly thought he was going to say, and I'll ruin your life." I'm going to say, Frankie, honey, you're 110 pounds, 6'1". You're smoking so much crack it's in your teeth. Or block. But I really do hope Frankie's better. I can't even imagine. But Frankie had a lot of his own issues long before his sister was murdered. And Chris responded, "I didn't hurt my family." And that was the last text ever. Okay, so I may be wrong with that. They went from talking about Frankie, and then now it is Nikki said that. So I texted Chris one last time. "If you did anything bad, you're going to ruin your life, blah, blah." And he responded, "I didn't hurt my family, Nikki," and that was the last text. I never said another word to him after that. This is part of Daily Mail. They have no editors. None. They literally went from talking about Frankie. They didn't speak about his cracked teeth or anything, but then straight to Nikki. Okay. After his arrest, he initially claimed Shannon had killed the girls. And then he told her, after he told her he wanted a separation and then had strangled her in anger. After he had beep beep with her. I'm curious, and this is so tacky. Let me know below. Do you think Chris officially enjoyed their liaison that morning, or did he fake it? Because Scott Peterson was doing liaisons with Lacey and claiming that he climaxed when he wasn't, because he didn't want her to get pregnant, and then he messed up one time. But I'm curious, do you think Chris actually enjoyed that morning? Okay. Chris is serving 5 life sentences plus 48 without parole at the Dodge Correctional Institution. The one thing I really should have looked up before I did this video is to see if Chris is at least taking college courses or, doing something, helping other people. I know that he made friends with the dude who kidnapped a little girl, is in Wisconsin. I'm thinking her name was Jamie. And then he held her for 80 days or something, and she was able to escape and survive. But I know Chris made friends with that guy, but I know Chris's father made friends with that guy's father. Can you imagine if your child commits a horrendous crime like this? You're sitting here thinking, we'll do no turkey now. I didn't raise my child to do any of this. And so the fact that Chris's father became friends with that guy's father, that makes sense to me. Can you even imagine the pain? You didn't raise your child to do this. In Chris's case, I find it funny that 5.5 years ago, I created a channel because I said, well, the reason Chris did this was because of her, and now he's finally come out, and I'm a little upset that he didn't give me credit. Just like that woman that Prince Harry married, she wrote that letter to the soap commercial. My entire junior high wrote the same letter to the soap commercial. But soap commercial only changed it because she asked them to change it. Okay, you're still watching right now. I'm shocked, completely humbled. Hit like, hit subscribe. YouTube still won't pay me. Make comments. Say, YouTube, pay this woman. If you want to buy me a coffee, I'll let you buy me a coffee. God bless you, and oh my goodness, God bless this America. Make sure you are registered to vote, and I'm not joking. Take care.